want to kill me?
Who the hell is this?
I'm the Chinaman. You okay?
I'm fine. Thank you.
No problem.
The movie opens at JFK Airport in New York, where the hero, a Hong Kong cop named Kung, Jackie Chan, arrives. Outside, his uncle Bill meets him. They hop in a car and chat. Bill thanks his nephew for staying a week. Their drive ends in the Bronx, a rough part of New York. Wow, looks like a rough place. That's where Bill runs a shop. He brings Kung to his big apartment and shows family photos, including one of Kung's father. Kung spots a wooden Wing Chun dummy. Bill says he hasn't trained on it in years and that it belonged to his brother. Kung throws a few quick strikes at it, and their neighbor Danny Chan appears. The kid is in a wheelchair and clearly impressed. Bill brags his nephew is a martial arts champ from Hong Kong. They walk Danny to the school bus. Before he goes, Kung gives him an old handheld game. Bill says the boy only has a sister, and even she mostly ignores him. Next we cut to Bill's shop. It's being renovated to sell. Kung meets Bill's fiancée. A potential buyer, Elaine, arrives with her lawyer Chu. Bill immediately turns on the charm, showing the shop at its best. The three go into a room with a one-way mirror to sign papers. You can see the sales floor through it. Not knowing the glass is one way, Kung starts flexing in front of it. Elaine watches, puzzled, then starts to smile, and suddenly he disappears from view, only to reappear squeezing a zit in front of the mirror. Elaine, trying to haggle, can't stop laughing. Bill and Chu, with their backs to the glass, miss it and keep talking business. When they mention the price, Elaine's smile fades and she asks for 20% off. Bill offers to split the difference. They settle on a price, and Kung comes back into the room and notices the mirror gives a perfect view. Kung looks a bit confused. Elaine teases the embarrassed guy. She signs the papers, and Bill calls Steven to borrow a fancy white car for the celebration. He invites the buyer and her lawyer to the wedding the next day. Then a biker gang tears through the Bronx streets. They pass Bill's windows and wake Kung with their noise. He gets up to shut the window and sees a showdown between two gangs near his uncle's rental car. Two girls from rival gangs race down the street, jump onto cars, and ride across them. Kung tries to wake his uncle, but Bill's out cold. So Kung takes matters into his own hands. He bolts down the fire escape and somehow blocks one racer's path, stopping her from riding over his uncle's friend's pricey car. The girl loses face and wants revenge, but the cops arrive. When everyone scatters, Kung ends up outside and can't get back in. The next day Bill's wedding happens. Elaine is there. Kung approaches and they talk. He congratulates her on the purchase and offers to help. She accepts and he promises to stay a week. The following morning starts early. He gets up and does his workout as the news reports a robbery in Manhattan's Diamond District. Before leaving for their honeymoon, Bill and his new wife visit, leaving Kung the apartment for the week, the papers for Elaine, and some cash. At the supermarket a normal shift begins until bikers roll in. Kung spots a biker named Angelo drinking and sticking gum on the mirror, acting gross. When he gets to the checkout he only pays for one chocolate bar. Elaine demands he pay for what he stole, but Angelo smashes a bottle. That brings his buddy who gets aggressive too. Kung steps in, empties the thief's bag to show the stolen goods, and tries to calm him. The bikers circle him, and a girl tries to calm things. It fails, and a fight breaks out. Kung methodically beats the whole gang, dodging knife attacks like in classic Hong Kong action movies. He finally breaks Angelo's nose and the thugs run out scared. Kung makes the Asian biker apologize to Elaine, and punishes him for stealing. That evening Kung and Elaine close the shop. She struggles with the heavy shutters so he helps. After that he grabs his groceries and heads home. On the way he sees a gang kidnapping a girl. He chases them into an alley and scares them off with a fake badge. The victim thanks him, then suddenly kicks him in the groin. She's the biker he stopped earlier. As she bolts, for big goons with clubs attack him. The Hong Kong cop dishes out kung fu, using a bent ladder, clothes, and even a fence. When the attacker's buddies show up, a chase starts. The bikers catch him in an alley, led by Angelo. His nose is busted and he's got a revolver. Tony, the leader, says they should all beat Kung up. They pelt him with bottles and trash. Kung is cornered against a wall and has to lie down and cover his face. Angelo pulls his gun again and aims to shoot him, but he's interrupted. Angelo accidentally points the gun at the boss, who takes it away. The bikers leave, leaving Kung beaten among broken glass and trash. The biker girl goes home. She's Danny's sister, the wheelchair neighbor. The boy and his sister don't get along because she spends more time with the gang than looking after him. Danny tells his sister the console he's playing came from neighbor Kung. She doesn't realize who he means, even though she just left him beaten. The boy complains about being stuck inside. Danny scolds his sister for not even buying a new cushion for his chair. She promises to change and asks for his forgiveness. As she steps into the stairwell, the bloodied Kung appears. Danny limps into the hallway on crutches and recognizes him. The sister drags Kung inside and patches him up. In the morning the cop wakes in his uncle's apartment. Danny is there. Kung says a whole gang beat him. The boy says his sister undressed and treated his wounds. Kung eats the breakfast she made and tries to thank her, but she's already off to class. The hero heads to Elaine's store. In the city, bikers spot him and chase him on motorcycles. He bolts through a cafe, but they keep smashing chairs, food, and a popcorn cart. He jumps into an alley, climbs a fence into a parking lot. The gang follows. Kung runs across parking levels, hides, and takes out the first 2 pursuers from their bikes. 6 more chase him, 3 on bikes, and they corner him on an upper level, pressed against a railing. With no way out, Kung climbs the building's exterior like Spider-Man up to the roof. He reaches the top and hides in a van full of balloons, begging the driver not to reveal him, but the driver ignores him, exits the cab and exposes Kung. The bikers decide to shove him off the roof into the van, but at the last second Kung escapes through the van's open top. The truck crashes onto the street and balloons fly everywhere. The bikers spot Kung again and chase him to the roof edge. Angelo offers a deal. The cop must kiss his weak spot and he'll be let go. Kung rips an antenna off a nearby car and lashes Angelo with it. While the gang laughs, Kung throws the antenna and runs full speed to jump a huge gap to the next building. He lands hard. The police arrive and he slips away down a fire escape. While Kung runs from the bikers, a meeting of criminals happens elsewhere. Kidnappers try to sell stolen diamonds to men in suits. The bikers, angry about their failure, plan to dump the biker girl from earlier. She's the boss's girlfriend but begs him not to come upstairs and walks away. Angelo tells the boss it's time to get rid of the sly girl but gets insulted back. Meanwhile, Kung is pushing Danny down the street when the diamond dealer's car crashes into another vehicle and then into a storefront. The bikers, seeing their chance, rob the scene. Angelo grabs the case. The diamond buyers arrive, step from limos, and open fire. Kung pushes Danny into a doorway. The suited men open the seller's car and throw a grenade inside where the unconscious gangsters lie, then jump back into black limos and speed off. Angelo runs into a building with the case and finds he stole the very diamonds the suits wanted. The rest were lost in the crash. Hearing footsteps, Kung grabs the boy and carries him to safety, leaving the wheelchair on the stairs. Angelo hides the loot in the chair while gangsters search for the case. Angelo is caught and frisked at gunpoint. The suited men, fearing police, drop their weapons and leave Angelo. Kung brings the wheelchair and Danny home, not knowing Angelo hid the loot in the old cushion. Police arrive and arrest everyone on the stairwell, Angelo and the 2 unlucky diamond sellers. Kung carries Danny home. His sister is there too, hiding from Kung, scared he'll recognize her as a gang member. On the table sits a new cushion she bought to replace his old one. Danny tells Kung his sister works as a flight attendant and a model, hiding behind the wall, and she smiles when she hears it. Danny admits living with a disability is hard, especially watching healthy kids at the park and feeling he can't play like them. The cop puts the new cushion on the chair while the boy says, "I wish my legs were like other kids so I could take care of her myself and not worry." At that moment the biker girl can't hide any longer. She's Nancy. Kung recognizes her, forgives her, and asks her to forget the past. Danny is surprised his new friend already knows his sister. Kung says he ran into her on the stairs. He lifts the boy into the updated chair. The old cushion, with the diamonds hidden inside, gets kicked under the couch by Kung's foot. Nancy and the cop watch Danny try out his new seat. Meanwhile Angelo is questioned at the station, but there's nothing to hold him on. He plays dumb and pretends to be a tourist. The suited men are questioned in another room, but the police can't piece things together. They have a gun with no fingerprints, an empty case, and a list of stolen gems. The grenade in the car, set off by the suits, destroyed key evidence. Cops suspect the people caught were tied to the Diamond District robbery Kung heard about on the radio. The diamond buyers are bailed out, and detectives watch sadly as their limo drives off. Angelo is released so the police can keep surveillance on him. That night Angelo searches for the abandoned diamonds, and so do the men in suits. When Kung meets them on the stairs they pretend to be FBI agents, hand him a business card in case he finds anything, and let him go. There's a Bronx party where local kids are partying. Kung goes there and finds Nancy, dancing in a skimpy outfit with real tigers nearby. She sees him and says hi, keeps dancing as her biker friends arrive led by Tony. The thugs talk about Angelo's arrest and release, then look for Nancy. She sits with Kung and has a drink. He casually asks about her job when a gang member spots them. Nancy grabs his hand and they sneak away. In the alley she knocks over her friends' bikes on purpose, then they hop on the last motorcycle and ride off. The gang can't catch them. Kung tells Nancy to drop the bad crowd and spend more time with her brother. She hugs and kisses him against the city night. The next morning bikers smash into Elaine's store and wreck it looking for Kung. During the chaos 2 bikers are grabbed by the suited men and shoved into limo trunks. Elaine watches her store destroyed. Unaware, Kung is in the park with Danny and Nancy having fun. They're being watched by a disguised Angelo. When the adults go for ice cream, he shoves the boy down and grabs the cushion. Not finding diamonds he tosses it and runs. Meanwhile the kidnapped bikers are tortured by the suits. One is shoved into a wood chipper, but they learn nothing. After the park Kung visits Elaine's ransacked shop. The owner blames him for not being there like he promised and for getting involved with the gang leader's girlfriend. That's why they attacked. Kung sets out to find Tony. Nancy leads him to the biker camp. Kung bursts into a trailer, finds the boss and his crew, and a fight starts. He trashes a stereo and a pool table. A bottle flies at him and then everyone attacks. The brawl is interrupted by Tony firing a shot into the ceiling. He meant to shoot Kung, but when Nancy walks in he drops the gun to show off. Tony thinks he can beat Kung in a fistfight. In a wild one-on-one, Kung slams the boss into an arcade machine. Others join in and Kung keeps landing blows, using anything at hand, bottles, tables, arcade cabinets, even skis. Tony fires another warning shot to stop it. Tony says Kung has won and can go, but the cop gets annoyed and lectures them about wasting their lives. He leaves, tossing a calm Chinese phrase over his shoulder. Nancy follows and agrees. Then one of the suit guys comes in with a trash bag asking for help. Inside is the shredded remains of Lance, a gang member. The survivor says if the bikers don't return what Angelo stole they'll all end up the same. Kung calls the number from the fake FBI card. At the trailer park he meets the suits. In an RV Angelo lies wounded. Tony tries to figure out Angelo's angle. A fake agent walks in. Angelo shouts that these guys aren't FBI. One of the criminals shoots him in the leg. "What the hell are you talking about?" The men in black demand the diamonds. Angelo says they're in Danny's wheelchair. Guns are pointed at Nancy, Tony, and Kung. Kung says he knows where the diamonds are. The suits grab him and drive off. They go to Danny's home, destroy the new cushion, and rough up the boy. When Kung protests, he gets punched. The torn cushion is empty. Danny then says the diamonds are in his sister's room. One of the goons grabs the kid and drags him away. In Nancy's room they find only fake jewelry and the thug lunges at the boy. Kung spots Danny's old cushion under the couch with a crutch. With a gun to his head he pulls out the stash and knocks out a thug. He grabs the attacker's gun, jumps on the couch, aims at the second gangster, and delivers a beating. Danny helps by tossing him a football helmet and a wrench. Kung ties up the gangsters. The boy calls the police but no one answers quickly. One thug's phone rings, Kung picks up and pretends to be him. The caller asks where the diamonds are and orders him to get rid of the witnesses. "You want to kill me? Who the hell is this?" Kung says he's the boss. He tells them he captured 2 guys and has the diamonds, and in exchange he wants his friends released. He asks Danny to hang up and not call the police. The gang leader promises to tell him what to do. Kung sends the boy to school in a taxi. Meanwhile the suits are savagely beating the captive bikers at gunpoint. Tony gets it worst. They demand to know where Kung went. The gang leader says the man works at a Lane supermarket. Renovations there are almost done. The cop arrives to warn the owner about the danger, shows her the diamonds and asks for help catching the criminals. The suits call. They want him on the sales floor. When he arrives, Kung sees the gangsters have rigged the place with chains hooked to a tow truck outside, ready to tear it down. He warns Elaine but she doesn't listen. The store starts collapsing. Kung and Elaine survive in the rubble. The diamond thief calls threatening to kill everyone unless the cop hands over the gems. Kung calls the police and tells them everything. Undercover, he goes to the address the boss gave. The plan is to show the thugs 1 diamond to get a confession and find where the hostages are. Kung meets the suited men, tricks them into talking, and they call their boss. They search him and find a hidden microphone in his hair. The boss orders the hostages and Kung killed. At the last second the cops free the captives, but Kung gets stuck between 2 walls. Officers arrive and a shootout breaks out with the suited gangsters. Kung is rescued and decides to find the hostages himself. While dodging bullets, the men in black hijack a passenger hovercraft. Kung climbs a yacht mast to reach the bridge and jumps onto the craft, but falls and catches a rope with his foot, getting dragged as the criminals shoot at police. The hovercraft speeds onto a beach and Kung barely saves a child from being crushed. The criminals try to run him over but the air cushion just pins him into the sand. The chase continues into the city with the hovercraft racing down the road. Kung jumps into a sports car, grabs a sword from an antique shop and goes after his friends. He slices the hovercraft's cushion, forcing it to stop. Kung jumps aboard, grabs a thug's gun, and scares the criminals off. Police arrive and one of the suits reveals where the hostages are. They're rescued, and Kung is allowed to lead the operation to catch the boss. The hovercraft gets patched and the hero and his friends pile aboard. They head to a country club and catch the main villain, White Tiger. The hovercraft runs right over him, leaving the old man naked. In reality, the Bronx showdown wasn't filmed in New York. The actor broke his ankle during the final leap onto the moving hovercraft, but kept filming. The stuntman's cast was hidden as a shoe.